Hi everybody, TheHande here, and welcome back to the Leaders of Finland series. And today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more topical. On June 13th, Finland had a municipal election, which Finland's various municipalities elect members into their personal councils to decide things on a local level. And the results of these elections were quite interesting. The big winner of the election was clearly the NCP, which across the country had the highest votes overall, and the biggest loser of this municipal election was the voting percentage, which hit an all-time low of 55%. Now you might be tempted to think that because the NCP garnered the most votes across the country, while the SDP is currently in the government, that this would be some kind of a protest to our current government. But in fact, this is apparently a very long-standing trend, as the NCP has the most voted party on the municipal level in the last 4 elections. However, there was a noted drop across the board in the support of pretty much all other parties, including the SDP and the Center Party. In fact, in my hometown of Oulu, SDP actually got fewer votes than the Green Party or the Left Alliance. And that of course begs the question, what does it exactly mean now that the NCP and the Center Party are actually the two biggest parties in a lot of different municipalities, with the SDP usually bringing up the rear? Well, of course, every municipality is a little bit different, but generally what this is most likely going to result in is possibly slightly lower tax rates on the municipal level, and also probably selling of municipal property to either independent investors or corporations, which honestly makes me a little bit nervous. However, I also need to remind, of course, that the margin of difference is very low. And if you look at the votes garnered by the political left overall, while it is clearly fractured between the SDP, the Left Alliance, and the Greens, they still make up a larger group than the NCP overall. So that is most likely going to affect things somewhat. And the party that clearly gained the most votes compared to the previous elections was the Finnish Party, who actually came out 4th overall. The Finnish Party has traditionally been a bit of an underperformer in the municipal elections, as many people consider it to be more of a big picture party, which is why they do much better in the general elections, whereas I think most people don't think the Finnish Party are very good at dealing with local municipal decision making. That said, some experts actually believe that if the voting percentage would have been higher, the Finnish Party would have actually gained even more votes than what they already got. So by no means was this a poor showing by them. And on the Finnish Party agendas in this particular election, I actually went and looked up the top 5 candidates in my hometown just to see exactly what kind of themes were they running on. And I have to say that I was actually a little bit disappointed to see that most of it was pretty boring stuff. Mostly it was a lot of roundabout promises about either healthcare services, helping out businesses. There were a couple of candidates that mentioned the word security, but only one that mentioned immigration. So at the lower levels, though, it does seem the Finnish Party managed to gain votes mostly on very moderate themes, it seems. But regardless of which party is at the highest votes in each municipality, it does seem one thing is for sure, if we are to believe the campaign promises of all the candidates, which is to say that nearly everybody has promised to put a lot more effort into securing healthcare services. And the reason this seems to have become a popular theme in this particular election was because the Finnish government is apparently very near to proposing a version of the healthcare services reform SOTE, which many people will believe finally has an actual chance of passing through in the Finnish parliament. I've mentioned this in a previous video, but SOTE is something that has passed hands many times. It has been a reform that has been in the making for nearly 2 decades at this point, and it seems that candidates from literally every party have made promises relating to healthcare in some form or another. Now, as for the low voting percentage, yes, the countrywide voting percentage was only 55%. In fact, in many municipalities, it was slightly under that. And in only one municipality, the voting percentage was actually over 80%. And this came as a bit of a shock because advance voting for these elections were actually historically high. It partly helped that the advance election period was actually extended by a week. But nearly 1 million Finns, that is to say almost a fifth of the whole population, actually cast their votes before the actual election day. Now, I've heard some theories that the fact that the elections were actually postponed, they were originally supposed to be held earlier in the spring, but COVID was making it very difficult to organize the elections, so they were bumped up to June. Some people have even blamed that a summer election was somehow a bad idea, which I don't personally think that is the case. Unfortunately, I think this just cruelly demonstrates of just how little people actually care about municipal politics, and this is kind of bad because, of course, those are the decisions that affect people's everyday lives way more than those in the general elections. But yeah, that was my very quick overview and analysis of the Finnish municipal elections in 2021. I'm TheHande. See you on the next one.